This video will be a little bit different from my usual in that I will attempt to do this with at least the minimum number of edits. What I'd like to do is show you in more or less real time how long it takes me to do the different things that I'll be demonstrating. So I apologize in advance if I make any mistakes. I'm going to do my best to not re-record or redo things. First things first, we need to go and click on this custom size button and then enter the size that we need for a template. So if we're making a template for, say, a Supernote A6X or A5X, or for the Remarkable, for example, we'd want that template to be 1404 wide and 1872 high. That'll open up this page where we get a nice blank page, and then we get these different little shelves on the left with different things you can put in. But let's focus on this templates tab. And this is one of the main reasons I like suggesting Canva as a way to make templates, which is that they have a lot of templates which have been designed by some really amazing designers, which you can use as basis for designing your own or customizing your own template for your device. So let's say I scroll down and I see a template that I like. Let's say I like this. So you'll notice that some of these templates have this little crown icon on the lower left. That means that they are pro templates and you need a paid account to use them. But there are a lot of free templates that you can use even if you just have a free account. So let's say I really like this template. I think it's adorable. Just close that shelf on the left. What's great about, as you can see when I hover over the different elements, what's great about Canva is that these are not static images. You can actually reposition the different elements on the templates as you need. So this is really useful, of course, for if you're trying to account for a toolbar, let's say a toolbar on top or a toolbar on the left, and you want to move things around on the page, you can just select them and move them this way. Aside from the toolbar, the other thing you have to take into account when designing for e-ink or when customizing a template for an e-ink device is, of course, that they don't have color. So everything you see here is going to be turned into grayscale. Like this nice beigey color is going to be gray. I find that I get less ghosting and it seems to look better if my background is mostly white. So I can just select that background color, hit delete, and now it's gray on a white base, which is what I want. Let's say I want the margin to be bigger on this left side because I'm using a Remarkable tablet, for example, and I know that my available space is going to be this right side of the page. So if you select something and then you hold Shift, you can actually select multiple items at once. So I can just go in and take every element that I want to move and just move that all sideways, if that's what I need to do for my device. You can also go in and change the text. You can, as you can see here in the toolbar, you can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the color. So if I want this to be a flat black when it shows up, I can do that too. And I think this is the sort of easy mode when it comes to customizing your template. You can really just modify an existing template if you find one you like and adjust it to suit your device without much hassle. Now, of course, you can also make your own template completely from scratch. So I'm just going to click on Add Page rather than making a new document. And we have this nice blank page. And if we go into the tabs on the left, there are a lot of different things that we can add. So we can add shapes if you want to make boxes to write your notes in. You can add lines. And this is, I would say, the same level of difficulty as using Microsoft PowerPoint, for example. These options should be pretty familiar. You can change the color if you click up there. You can change how thick the line is. And aside from different lines and shapes, you can also look at different graphics. So if you want to put in a little leaf somewhere on your page, you can do that. Some really nice images here that are free to use for personal use. And you can, of course, add text. So you can, well, you get some nice pre-formatted text here, but you can also just add text on your own. You can rotate it, move it, and then you can change the font that you're using. You can tell the ones that I really like. Some of them are paid options, but there are still a lot of really nice free ones that you can use, and you can make the text as big or as small as you want or need, and change the color. So if you want it to be black, or if you want it to be a shade of gray, you can also do that. Very cute. What I also like doing is, if you go here to elements, and you scroll down to the bottom, you see these things called frames. So if I put in a frame that's shaped like this, I can drag and drop a photo. Let's see if we can find any free ones. I can drop a photo into it and it'll just fit in the frame. So this is really useful for if, say, you're trying to make a cover photo, or there's a certain area where you want the image to be in, you want it cropped in a cute way like this, you can use the frames for that. Something that is also really useful, which you might have seen as we scrolled over it just a while ago, are tables. So if you wanted to make a really simple, let's make a new page. If you wanted to make a really simple table for a to-do list or for a weekly tracker, for example, like let's say I wanted to make something that had 7 columns, I could just insert rows here. 3, 4, 5. There you go. Select everything, and you notice that the columns aren't the same width. You can just size the rows equally, and if you click here, you get size columns equally, and clicking on that will even it out. And that's a really easy way to make a table, which you can also format. So you can just select the borders, you can select the color of the text, you can select the color of the fill on them. And this is, I think, pretty straightforward if you're used to making tables in things like, as I mentioned earlier, PowerPoint. If you're used to how it works in Excel, you get very similar options here for formatting the different lines. My only gripe with this is you can't seem to make the rows any narrower than this, but for something simple like making a weekly tracker of some sort, that's fine. And then you can just click here to delete rows. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You have a lot of options, and that's why I think that this is such a great option for making your own template, because not only is it so simple relatively to use compared to a lot of other options, you even get a little help with aligning things, with centering things in the middle. There are so many different elements that you can just insert and use for free for personal use. And it just makes it a lot easier to put together a kind of template that you want with the aesthetic that you want. So when you're done with either modifying an existing template to your needs or with creating your own template, you can just click on download. And you can, of course, save as PNG. All these different pages will be saved as separate PNGs, or you can save it as a PDF. Regardless of which option you choose, go with PNG. You can select which pages you want to export. So selecting all pages will save all of these pages as separate images, and selecting specific pages will save only those pages as PNG, and you'll find them in your downloads folder after you click download. So I hope that was a good illustration of how simple this is. So something I've been working on actually is a way to make this process even easier. So what I wanted to do was put together a modular system where I already made these different boxes with different options that you can put together and fit them together depending on what you need. And I can go in and change the text. If you hate the font I chose, you can change that too. If this system is interesting to you, I've put the link to where you can get it below. I've made versions for the Remarkable, the Supernote, and a version which has no toolbars taken into account, so you can use it on the Boox Air or Note. If you want to learn more about how to improve your note-taking, here's a video on how you can use graphic design principles to make your notes easier to read and understand. Thank you for watching.